All right, hey everyone. Back here with another programming stream with the audio programmer. Hope everyone's having a good day today. And yeah, today we're just going to be talking about some plugin development here, working on the plugin that I've been demoing here on the live streams a little bit in the past. So yeah, it should be a fun time. And yeah, let's get started here. Cool. So I guess first I just wanted to show, do a little recap maybe of stuff that we've worked on before and show the current status of this plugin here. So I'll pull it up. So yeah, I guess probably some folks haven't been watching the previous live streams, but the idea with this plugin is that it's going to be kind of a multi-tool thing. So it's just some pretty basic, straightforward things, nothing extremely fancy or complicated, but just all packaged in one plugin and done hopefully in a way that sounds good and is easy to use. And that's kind of the goal here. And then for me more personally, it's just been also an opportunity to experiment with some different ways of doing plugin development and try different things that I haven't done before. So that's been a lot of fun for me as well. So currently we have an EQ that has no UI at the moment, or just a default parameters UI. We have a wave shaper. I don't think we had the visualizer here the last time I was on the stream. But yeah, this is something that maybe we'll work on today. So we've got a wave shaper with a few different parameters here. We can do some different shapes of wave shaping, so these can be pretty fun. Yeah, some of these, the visualizer needs a little bit of work. It's not fully there yet, in my opinion. And yeah, then we've got the oversampling parameter, which shouldn't affect the visualizer at all. And then for this fold fuzz wave shaper, we've got a couple of funky parameters that we can play around with. But yeah, as I mentioned, this isn't quite looking right for some of the different wave shapes. So that's maybe something we can work on today. We've got a signal generator, which is pretty straightforward. It just makes a tone at a given frequency and gain. And then we've got different types of tones from that as well. So yeah, maybe we can work a little bit on the UI for that today as well. Although, I don't know, that wasn't really at the top of my list, so we'll see. We've got this pull text style EQ. So we've got some, UI here as well that I've spent some time working on. It's not great. Definitely a good bit more work to do on there as well. I'll come back to the band splitter. We've got this state variable filter, which also has kind of a temporary UI for the most part. So yeah, we can work on that. We've got this brick wall filter. So we've got a couple different types of filters to choose from. And then we've got our cutoff frequency. And then most recently, I've been working on this band splitter. So I started putting together a more polished UI for this. So we can pick our slope for the filter, and then we can move around our cutoff frequency. And the main thing that I wanted to do with this one is extend it so that I can do 3 bands of band splitting instead of just 2 bands. But yeah, maybe we'll do that today, or maybe we'll just stick with UI stuff in general. So oh, cool. We got a couple of questions. So JR wants to know, what is the name of this DAW? This is Bitwig Studio. Can we show the dashboard? Maybe it'll show some things. Yeah, I guess not. Yeah, so this is Bitwig Studio. There's kind of a few reasons I like it for testing plugins and also for making music. Which, yeah, I can talk about that more if people are interested. And Jay also wants to know, could you explain the process of manipulating the sound based on decibel being a composition of frequencies? not sure I fully understand the question. So I guess, would that be like in the context of a filter, or maybe in the context of like an oscillator with sound at different levels at different frequencies? Yeah, I'm not 100% sure I understand the question there. But yeah, any additional context would be handy for helping to answer that. So yeah, what should we start with? Maybe starting with the brick wall filter would be a good place, because that's kind of similar to what I had been doing with the band splitter. SBF is also kind of in that vein, but that one maybe needs a little bit of additional work. And then, yeah, wave shaper I wanted to spend some time on as well. Maybe let's start with the wave shaper. That one's kind of the one I'm most excited to work on at the moment. So yeah, let's give that a try. I'm also gonna go into a release build here, because that's eating up way too much CPU for Bitwig to handle at the moment. So I'll do an optimized build so that we can do that a little bit better. So this is the code. Oh yeah, I remember that I needed to make things a little bit bigger so that people can see a bit better in the screen share. So let's make the font overall a bit bigger, and then for the editor, we'll make the editor font a bit bigger also. So yeah, hopefully that's big enough people can see, but if not, definitely just let me know. Cool, so let's see, we've got our wave shaper processor, and we've got our wave shaper UI over here. So right now we've got the plot and we've got the editor kind of in separate classes. So it's a little bit distinct in terms of how we're dealing with it from the code side. So I think the first thing that I want to do is change the plotter parameters depending on which wave shaper we're working with. So if I'm going back here, it's going to take a second to load. Yeah, so kind of as you can see here, depending on the gain amount, we aren't necessarily using up the full space of the plot here. So I want to make sure that depending on how much gain we have, we're always using up the full space of the plot. So right now, the plot goes from minus 1.5 to 1.5 as far as the X value. So I'm going to have that be manipulated by the gain in the plot callback here. So here's where we're kind of manipulating the gain, but let's also change the plotter params here. So for right now, I'm just putting some fake numbers in there, and then I'll get real numbers in a second. I need to update my lambda capture to include the plotter. So I'll do this so that I know I have the plotter in my capture list. And now I should be able to set the plotter parameters from here. So first, let's get the gain as a linear gain. So we'll put this here. So we've got our linear gain. So X-min will do minus linear gain. And we might want to add a little bit of padding in the future, but I'll stick with this just as it is for now. And yeah, let's try that. So this is going to take a minute because it's going to be clean build because I changed to a release mode build. So this might take a couple minutes here. Okay, JR is clarifying. Yes, but you mentioned the filters and oscillators. So I guess I'll start with filters. So with filters, it kind of depends on your filter design technique. So you might be working with something like a FIR filter, where maybe you have some equation for what you want the gain to be at a given frequency. And so you can basically set up a set of frequencies and the gains of those frequencies, and then basically do kind of a frequency domain filter design where you have like maybe a vector of x coordinates and then a vector of y coordinates, where the y coordinates are the gain at each frequency. And then you can do like a inverse FFT and design an FIR filter that way, or even do your processing in the frequency domain if you want. If you're looking for more of a traditional filter, like a low pass filter or a high pass filter, those are a little bit more tricky to design. There's a lot of somewhat difficult math that goes on. But yeah, I would definitely suggest reading up a little bit on sort of some of the circuit theory behind some of those filters. Like I think there's a website called like All About Electronics or All About Circuits that has a good article on like some of the basics of an analog low pass filter. And so just kind of understanding those can be very important. And then for actually designing them in something like a plugin, I typically use anti-Simper's derivations for how the state variable filter can actually implement those filters. But again, there's a lot of different ways of designing a filter and a lot of different pros and cons that you might want to keep in mind depending on what you're trying to do with that filter. For oscillators, if you're looking at like sort of a subtractive synth kind of thing, it's pretty similar, where you have some fairly broadband signal and then you're filtering it to get sort of the frequency spectrum that you're looking for. If it's more of like an additive synth, then it's kind of simpler because you just pick your frequencies that you want and then you adjust the gain at each frequency, since you have a kind of dedicated oscillator for each partial or each harmonic of your harmonic series. Or maybe you're doing some kind of inharmonic additive synthesis, which is maybe a little bit more complicated. I don't think I've done that before. And then FM synthesis, again, kind of takes it to another level of complexity, where you're, again, generating you're generating signal at a lot of different frequencies. And so controlling the parameters to get a desired harmonic or frequency spectrum can be pretty complex. If I remember right, there's like some Bessel functions and stuff that you have to calculate to figure out the exact frequency spectrum that you're going to get from kind of an FM synthesis type situation. But yeah, that's kind of probably the best I can explain some of that stuff. But yeah, there's a lot of different ways to do these kinds of things for a lot of different situations. So it really depends on kind of what your specific goal is and what you're trying to achieve at a given time. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question a little bit. Cool. So for my part, I'm going to look through the wave shaper and see maybe what kind of gain manipulations we might need to do here to get our signal into the range that we want. So I'm seeing for the West Coast folder, we have this kind of makeup gain of minus 10 dB. For the wave multiplier, we have sort of an opposite situation where we're doing a plus 16 dB makeup gain. So I'm probably going to have to add those to the plot as well. But yeah, it should be somewhat simpler. I may want to refactor some of this also. It's gotten a little bit convoluted here. It's kind of a big file. So yeah, as I noted to myself, let's make this look a bit better. Hey Jamie, good to see you. All right. So let's give this a try with our new build, our optimized build, and see what comes out of it. All right, so we're getting something different, but I don't think we're quite getting what I had wanted. Interesting. Yeah. Well, actually, no, this is not actually a new build because our CPU usage is still the same as what it was. And that's because I copied the wrong file. Let me fix that real quick. All right, there we go. Cool, so that looks a little bit more like what I had expected. So yeah, let's not do fold fuzz at first because that one's a little bit more complicated. Yeah, so that looks about like what I would expect for the hard clipper. I wonder if maybe we want to figure out a little bit of smoothing or something for these corners here. Or I don't know, some way of making them look a little bit less I don't know, wide. I don't know, because it seems like here we've got like a solid 1 pixel or however many pixels that is in our line, and then here it gets kind of jumpy. So yeah, let's oh, come on. There we go. Let's see what Tanish looks like. That looks pretty good because that one doesn't have any sharp corners. I'm more or less happy with that. Maybe there's a little bit of like odd stuff happening up there, but it's not too bad. Cubic looks pretty good as well. And yeah, one thing you might notice is that the cubic doesn't go it doesn't go to +or-1, it goes to +or-2/3. So that's a different sort of clip ceiling than the TANH clipper. Non-it clip again kind of goes to 8/9 instead of 2/3 or +or-1. But yeah, that's pretty similar to what we would expect. Full wave rectify, that also looks like about what I would expect. Maybe I want to add a little bit more padding so that we can go to +or-1 and then a little bit past that. Actually, no, full wave rectify is going to go all the way up to whatever the max input level is. So that's maybe something that we should adjust also. Oh, that doesn't change anything. West Coast. Okay, so this one we need to shrink by some number of decibels. Figure that out. And this one we need to add some decibels to make it fill up the whole range. And then this one I think we'll come back to because it's got a bit more funky stuff that needs to be accounted for. So yeah, let's come back to that one maybe. So first things first, let's fix up the 2 folders because those were the ones that I had kind of already scoped out as needing some attention. So the wave multiplier we can handle here. So let's see, we want our Y data. We do have a buffer for this, right? Yeah, maybe not. That's okay. Let's just use our juice for vector operations. Multiply. So we want to apply this to Y data dot data. We want to go over num samples. I guess we've already got that scoped out, and then we want to multiply by this number. I'm not sure about that number actually. Let me double check that I got this right. So we want to do floats here instead of doubles. I'm not sure I got this right. So wave multiply versus West Coast fold. Which one are we in here? This is wave multiply. Oh, interesting. I flipped the order of these. Doesn't matter that much. So then for West Coast fold, we can go down at the end here, and here we want to do -10 instead of +16. And then the other one I wanted to look at was the full wave rectifier. So I don't want to change the x coordinates, but I do want to look at the y coordinates. So we're working with these plotter parameters here. So let's figure out what the defaults are for those. There's some code I wrote a couple weeks back, so I don't remember it exactly off the top of my head. But we've got this wave shaper plot, and we've got these kind of default settings for the plot parameters. So let's start with our defaults at the same thing. So that's plus or minus 1.1. Here we go. So plus 1. And then when we're in our full wave rectifier, we're going to want to change that to be some different y min and y max. So y max is going to be up to as large as the linear gain, right? Y min is going to never be greater than 0. I think it'll look a little bit lopsided if I just make this like minus 0.1. But you know what? Let's give that a try and just see what it looks like. I'm not really sure what to expect, so let's give that a try. So yeah, I'm expecting that we may have to do kind of a similar thing with the fold fuzz wave shaper, but we'll get to that in a minute. Yeah, so this is what our full wave rectifier is looking like, and I think, yeah, I don't love it because our y max is shifting as we shift our gain, but our y min stays the same, so it ends up looking a bit weird when we do this. I think I'm going to make this be minus linear gain and just see what that looks like. But before we build again, let's test our other thing. So yeah, this is what the West Coast folder looks like when we're shifting our when we're doing our makeup gain. So that looks about like what I would expect. Again, we're seeing some kind of weird stuff around the corners here. So I think that's just in the drawing code. But yes, maybe something I'll have to take a look at here. Interesting. And then wave multiplier. Yeah, that's looking about right. Maybe we want to bump the y coordinates a little bit, get us a little more range out of that. I've also been thinking about maybe putting some kind of cross grid underneath, but we'll come back to that maybe in a sec. And then let's see, what do we want to do with the fold fuzz? So I think we're going to want to probably have, again, our linear gain go up to plus or minus linear gain like we're doing, or sorry, our range go to plus or minus linear gain like we're doing with the full wave rectifier. So let's give that a try. Just copy paste this into the fold fuzz if statement as well. And then it was the wave multiplier that we wanted to extend the range on that one a little bit also. So maybe not all the way up to there, maybe just to plus or minus 1.5, or maybe even 1.25 would be enough. Let's give that a try. Oh, hey, George is here. Good to see you again, George. Oh yeah, I wanted to mention we won't be doing any wave digital filters this week. I know George has been asking about that, but I do have it in my schedule for the next live stream. So maybe that'll be next week or maybe the week after. But I do have an idea for a wave digital filter thing that I wanted to talk about. So that would be pretty fun. Come on, there we go. All right, yeah, so that's looking pretty good. I don't think we need any more range, maybe a tiny bit more. It's probably okay. And then, yeah, fold fuzz. So, okay, maybe we want still a little bit more range beyond the linear gain. So, yeah, that's kind of what we're seeing. Yeah, this one's got some pretty interesting shapes that can come out of it. I'm pretty excited to play around with this one a bit more. But yeah, maybe we want to push the linear gain a little more than what we already are. So I'm going to push this one a little bit further as well, just to see what it looks like. And then this one we'll do maybe same thing here, 1.25. Okay, yeah, cool. We got some more questions. So, okay, DJ Lethal wants to know, is there a reason for Bitwig over live, or is it just a preference? I mean, really, it's just a preference. I was a live user for quite a long time. I think starting in 2014, I think, maybe even 2013, I was starting to use live. And I really like live. It's some great software. I switched to Bitwig maybe start of last year. So yeah, start of 2022 is probably when I switched to Bitwig. And I think I like it a little bit better just for my music making workflow. I think it fits me a little bit more naturally. Kind of with both Bitwig and Live, there's a ton of features that I haven't really done a whole lot with, just because they aren't really all that useful for me in terms of like the things that I use. Like Live has a ton of like live performance features, which I don't think I ever really use. Both Live and Bitwig have kind of this like clip view that I don't really use at all. But yeah, as far as plugin development, I definitely prefer Bitwig over Live because kind of as you guys have seen, I'm able to just turn off the audio engine and then reload my plugin. Whereas with Live, I would have to shut down all of Ableton Live, restart it, wait for it to load up and everything, and then I could test my plugin again. So the debugging cycle with testing a plugin in Bitwig is a little bit faster. But obviously, if you're making music, then that doesn't matter for you. So it's not a big deal. But yeah, for plugin development, I do like Bitwig a little bit better. Maybe I'll go back to 1.25. I'm not sure I'm actually getting that much from the extended range here on the ends. So yeah, I think I'm happy with that. Let's try out some grid lines next. and see if we can get those to look good. Oh yeah, but as Josh said, yeah, all questions are welcome. So feel free to ask whatever you like, and I'll try to answer as best I can. Or if it's something I don't know, I'll try to point you to maybe someone who would know a little bit better, or maybe someone else in the chat would know a little bit better, and that's always handy as well. So yeah, as I had mentioned, I've recently been playing around with the band splitter UI and trying to get that to look a little bit better. So maybe I'll start with some of the same colors over there. Sure, yeah, let's just copy this for now. I'll probably want to have some more unified way of getting colors in the future, but for now, I'll just do some copy pasting. Yeah, one thing I had thought of with this plugin is maybe setting it up so that people could choose their own color scheme or something. But I haven't really put much thought into it yet, aside from just thinking it might be something I would want to do in the future. Wave shaper. And then, yeah, plot color and thumb color, I'm probably going to want to be different. So I'll comment those out for now, but I think maybe the background colors and the line colors I might want to keep. I might want to keep those constant between all of the different sections of the UI. So let's yeah, let's do this. So we've got wave shape colors, and then let's see. I think for the background colors, I was doing those in the editor, but maybe I'll just keep those in the plot for now, and move into the editor later if I decide to. So instead of filling with a background of plain black, I'll fill with this fancy gradient that uses these background colors. So hopefully that'll look a little bit better. And then, yeah, I haven't decided on a color for the plot yet, but we'll come back to that. So let's see, this is our background. These are our grid lines. And this is the plot itself. So yeah, I've thought about some different ways of doing grid lines here. I might do just like regular horizontal and vertical lines, like I'm doing on the band splitter plot, but maybe I would want to do like a tick mark thing as well. I haven't really decided yet. So let's see. Let's do the, well, let's make some helper functions first. So draw X line. So we'll want to capture the graphics context. We'll want to know the X position. And we'll want to know if it's a major line. So this should be a bool. I don't know for sure if I want to do major and minor lines yet. We'll figure that out later. I'm also going to want to know this is an X line, so it's going to go from 0 on the left-hand side to the full width on the right-hand side. So yeah, I'll need to know both the width and the height. So let's do this. Get width and height equals height. And so what we're going to do is we're going to set our color. So if it's a major line, we'll use the major lines color. Otherwise, we'll use the minor lines color. Oh, I missed that. That should be a question mark. Minor lines color. There we go. Oh, actually, if we're drawing an X line, well, okay, so this is going to be, maybe I should name these a little bit better. So this is going to be a vertical line at some X coordinate here. So we're going to do graphics, draw line. So let's see. A line in juice. Let me just pull up the juice documentation here. Juice line. So a line in juice is going to have a start and an end. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, so we'll use this constructor here that takes 2 points, and that'll help us create a line. So the first point should be at the top of the plot. So that'll be at the X position and with height 0. And then at the end, we'll have our X position and our height. That should do it. So yeah, I guess we don't need the width then. That makes our lives a little bit easier. And then we'll do basically the same thing for draw horizontal line. Here we will need the width. And here we'll need the Y position instead of the X position. And we'll basically just flip these. So this will be Y position, and this will be width Y position. Okay, so now we want to decide where we want to draw our lines. So first, let's just draw some lines at the 0 markers. So I'll do draw horizontal line. Get, I want to get the X coordinate. Oh, wait, no, it's a horizontal line. Let me get the X coordinate for amplitude 0. And this is going to be a major line. And then for vertical, we'll do the X coordinate for that amplitude. And we'll spell it right. Yeah, let's see what that looks like. Oh yeah, Josh is mentioning his DJ app series. That's been really fun. I've been tuning into those whenever I'm online at the same time as the streams are happening, which seems to line up pretty well most times, which is nice. But yeah, that's been a fun series to catch up on, and I've really enjoyed seeing Josh's process and seeing some parts of Juice that I haven't interacted with before, haven't interacted with in quite a long time. So that's been a lot of fun. Yeah, so let's see what our grid lines look like. Do they look correct? Yeah, those look more or less correct. Wonder what the units, if the units look right. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, interesting that with the full wave rectifier, the plot never seems to change, which I guess makes sense. That is like technically the right thing. Although maybe I don't want that. I don't know. Yeah, maybe I don't want the maybe I don't want the x coordinate to shift as much as I'm doing it currently. Well, let's see. Yeah, let's I think for the horizontal lines, I'm okay with just that one for now, but let's try adding some more vertical lines to see this direction, because I think that's gonna be very informative, because that's the axis that's kind of stretching and shrinking as we're moving the gain here for the most part. So maybe that will be kind of a useful bit of visual feedback for people. So let's see, this is going to be our vertical lines. So what we're going to do here is I think I want to draw vertical lines every 0.25. Let's just call it volts, since that's what I'm used to thinking about it, but 0.25 units here. So at our smallest, we're at -12. So that would kind of just be, one line at the very end of each side here. So maybe that's not enough. Maybe we're going to want some more fine grid lines. So let's do 0.125. So I'm going to do a floating point for loop, which I don't think you're supposed to do, but I think it'll work here. This will be a fun experiment. So this will be plotter.params.xmin. So we're going to start at the minimum x value, and we're going to go until, well, this will be x position, I guess. X position is less than the max, and then plus x. Well, we're going to want to do x position plus equals. I'll do 0.125 and see what that looks like. Now, this isn't going to look quite right, because the x min is not necessarily going to be a multiplier of 0.125. So let's think about how we can maybe fix that. Oh, cool. Yeah. Josh is mentioning he might ask me to help write part of the DJ app that he's working on. So that could be fun. DSP for pitch interpolation. Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. Yeah, definitely shoot me a message. Yeah, that'd be a fun thing to work on. But yeah, so we want to get x min to be a multiplier of this 0.125 value. And so I think we want to use f mod for that. But I don't remember. So let's see here. I guess we'll have a compiler, and we'll also execute the code so we can see what it does. So let's see. Yeah, so if you guys haven't used Compiler Explorer, I use this kind of all the time now. It's a great little tool for just prototyping some code and seeing what seeing what it does. So yeah, if you haven't played around with it, it's definitely worth a little bit of your time here. But basically, I want to see what happens if I take a number like minus, I don't know, minus 0.35, and I f mod it with 0.125. Because what I want to get is something that's a multiplier of 0.125, but I don't think that's going to work. Yeah, okay, so that's not exactly what I want, because that's giving me like a kind of a remainder type situation here, which isn't particularly useful. So let's see. Let's make another function here. We'll call this clamp to multiple. That's probably not the right name, but so we'll have float x and we'll have float mul, which is like the multiple of the thing that we want. And so this will be clamp to multiple. And so let's see, what we had before was f mod of x and mul, which is not really what we want. So really what we want is to go up. So we want to increase the number until we get something that's a multiple of 0.125. So what if we do x minus that? Okay, that's correct in this case, but let's do some more test cases just to make sure make sure that we've got the right thing. So what if I do 0.45? That's correct. Yep. And then maybe we'll do 0.5 and just make sure that we get back 0.5 since that should be the right thing already. And then what if we do a positive number? Okay, that's right. And then what if we do a positive number that's not already a multiple? Interesting. So now it's going to go down. It's going to go down instead of up. I think that's okay, though. Actually, that's kind of better in our case, and I'll show you guys why in a second here. So let's copy this and just put it in our block of lambdas here. Const auto equals this. And so let's see, this can be a const x for float x increment equals 0.25. Yeah, and so we can clamp both of these to our multiple. To multiple to our increment to multiple. And then we'll plus equal x in here. Nice. And then we can just draw a bunch of minor lines. So whoops, these should be vertical lines, not horizontal. And this should be x position. And these should be minor ones, not major ones. Well, let's give that a try and see if it looks right to us. Oh, DJ Lethal's working on some algorithmic music stuff. Yeah, algorithmic music is pretty cool. I fooled around with it for like a week a number of years ago. It was a little bit hard for me, but I've seen some really cool things come out of it. I think part of the reason it was hard for me is because I wanted to do it in C++, and I'm not sure that C++ is the right language to do it in, kind of at the level that I wanted to do it at. Yeah, I don't know if there's other kind of neat tools that people are using for algorithmic composition these days. I'd be curious to hear about them. Maybe I should check them out at some point. Cool, yeah. So this is our new view here. So that looks about right to me. Maybe okay, so maybe we're missing one at the end there. So maybe my prediction about the clamping, the way that the clamping was working, wasn't quite correct. So that's maybe something that we can fix. I think also now we have a few too many minor grid lines and not enough major grid lines. So maybe we'll add some more major grid lines in a minute here. Yeah, maybe every one instead of every 0.125, we can have a major grid line. So I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do, there's no sign function in the standard library. That one's been bugging me for a while now. Sine of x times this. So if x is a negative number, we're going to subtract. If x is a positive number, we're going to add. And I think that should get us what we want. And so here, we'll make this a major line if x position is a multiple of 1. So this is a kind of a tricky one here. So because with integers, we could use a modulo for this, right? Because we would do like 1, well, I don't know, like 8 modulo 4, right? That would give us 0. And so if the modulo equals 0, then we know we have a multiple. I don't think we can just do that outright with floating point numbers. Yeah, it's not going to work. But maybe this is another spot where fmod can kind of help us out. Now I should mention I don't love fmod, especially for DSP code, because it's a little bit slow. But for graphic or for this type of thing where we're only calling it like a handful of times, it's probably not so bad. So if fmod with 1 equals 0, then we want this to be a major line. So let's try that out. Okay, there we go. Cool, yeah. So now we've got some more accented grid lines on some of these points here. Yeah, I don't know. This still looks maybe like it looks like there's a few too many grid lines at this zoom level, or at this much gain, and maybe not enough grid lines at that much gain. I don't know. Maybe I can live with it. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe let's tweak the increment a little bit. And then I guess the other question is, do we want any vertical grid lines? I'm kind of leaning towards, or sorry, any horizontal grid lines other than this, the one at 0 here. I'm kind of leaning towards no, but let's see what it looks like in this scenario. Yeah, maybe that works. It's kind of cool. Yeah, maybe we're good on horizontal grid lines. Maybe I can live with that. But yeah, I'm gonna try changing the increment a little bit and seeing what we get here. So instead of 0.125, let's just try 0.2. So this will give us at our max, we'll have 2. Wait, is it 2 or is it 4? It'll be 4. 4 major grid lines with 4 minor grid lines in between each major grid line. Yeah, something like that. So maybe we'll have like what is it, like 20 grid lines total. Well, I guess 40, because then we'll have the negative side of the plot as well. Maybe that'll look a little more natural. That looks okay, but it seems like we've lost our major grid lines. Interesting, interesting. Huh. Yeah, maybe the precision of fmod is working against us a little bit too. Let's try debugging this and seeing what we get here. Bitwig plugin host. Gonna take a minute to attach the debugger here. Cool. So we've hit our debugger. First one we get is this. So yeah, obviously there's like a little bit of numerical offset here. So this should not be a major grid line. Neither should this one, neither should that one, nor that one. But this one should be. So yeah, let's copy that and see what our fmod should give us. And on fmod with 1. Interesting. So that's going to give us like -1. If I were to make this like a little bit like -0.001 or something. That's still -1. Okay, so now it's basically 0. Yeah. So this is a little tricky because this will only work if our numerical precision is exact. I wonder what Stack Overflow would suggest. So C++ is point number a multiple. Yeah, sure, of 8. Problem is impossible. Okay. Remainders are exact. Multiples may not be representable. The intended question is impossible. Okay. Yeah. So this is one of the pains of doing floating point math in in C++. But the good news is that we have some ways of kind of, at least I didn't read the exact problem in the Stack Overflow thread, but in this case, we definitely have some ways that we can kind of fudge this to get close. So let's see, const auto xpos mod equals, let's do our fmod here. And so we can do const auto is major, is major grid line equals, so we can use this juice is within method. So if our xpos mod is near 0 with a tolerance of maybe, I don't know, -4 or something, or if it's within xpos mod, actually we're going to want this to be the absolute value here. If it's near 1, again with something like some bit of tolerance here, then we'll call it a major grid line. So yeah, this is just a little bit of like floating point fudging to make up for lack of precision. But hopefully that gets us what we want. Does that make sense? I can explain that a little bit better if people are confused by that. Floating point math is weird, is the overall gist of it. There we go. Yeah, so now we're getting our major and our minor grid lines the way we would expect. Personally, I think that looks fine. Let's see what we get at the sort of default level. Yeah, I'm all right with that. People have ideas for ways to clean up the code or make it look better. I'm definitely all ears as well. But yeah, I'm fairly happy with what that looks like. Man, the Zoom screen share really makes life difficult with this computer sometimes. Anyway, yeah, I think this is looking pretty good overall. So maybe the next step is figuring out how to get these choices. I don't know what you would call them here, but these little combo boxes into the plot somehow. So I think I want to have something kind of like what I've got with the band splitter, where I've got this sort of thing at the bottom of the plot that lets me choose what I want to do. But here I only have one thing to choose, so I can kind of spread out all the options along this bottom bar. In the wave shaper, I've got a couple of things. So I was thinking maybe I would have one thing on this side and one thing on that side. And then maybe these would be like drop-down menus that could come up and down from there. So that's maybe an idea that we could work with. So let's see. Yeah, maybe it's time to move this to move these controls into their own class. I think that's maybe the place to go here. But let's see. So first, let's move this stuff to the branch and then commit what we've got, since it seems to be working fairly well. So this will be wave shaper UI. Mixing ranges, wave shaper plot, and adding lines. Oh yeah, any other questions? No, I'm at kind of a good little stopping point here. Yeah, that's fine. And then let's see here, CPP file as well. Cool. Yeah, I guess no one's got questions, so that's always nice. Everyone's got their problem solved. Very happy to hear. Cool. So yeah, what I'm going to work on now is basically taking these combo boxes that are down here at the bottom and placing them as little drop-down menus that can be accessed here on the plot. And then we can show these, we can make these look kind of similar to what I've been doing with the band splitter here. So instead of just being like little buttons like this, it'll be like you would click on this and you get a menu that would come up or down from that area. But yeah, we'll see that in a second, hopefully. I also, I've got to figure out also what I want to do with this like temporary editor too, because I kind of want to get rid of it to make room for the stuff I want to add, but then I would lose these sliders for now. So maybe I'll keep it around for a little. I don't know. So yeah, let's do a couple of things here. So first, let's just get rid of it for now, and we can bring it back later if we want. Include the bottom bar. Bottom bar as the member variable as well. Let's also add a paint method. Cool. Let's see here. Okay, Jazz has a question. Is a statement true that it's really hard or impossible to model the real behavior of germanium diodes relative to, say, silicon or Zeners? I wouldn't say anything is impossible. Maybe that's not a very useful answer. Is it really hard? I mean, kind of the tricky thing with a lot of analog components is that, like, generally speaking, like we have equations that describe the behavior of these components, but these equations always have kind of limitations. So like if you have a diode or even like say a resistor, right? Like pretty much all equations, at least all sort of first order or first approximation equations will consider a resistor as being a perfectly linear thing. But in the real world, sometimes you have, effects from heat or from, other nearby components that can cause a resistor to behave non-linearly or can cause it to have some capacitive effects and things like that. And so, like, for example, with the diodes, the question isn't so much like, oh, do we have equations that can model the diodes? Because we do, but the question is, how well do those equations hold up for various regions where your diode may be operating? And my understanding is that with germanium diodes, it's a little bit more kind of finicky, whereas with silicon diodes or Zener diodes, the equations will hold up for a larger region of sort of the operating points that your diode might be operating at. Yeah, but I mean, that's the kind of thing where I'm sure if you ask different people, you'd get different responses as well. Yeah, personally, I found that for a lot of circuits, some version of the Shockley diode equations will work pretty well for silicon and germanium diodes, just with obviously some different parameters because the diodes have different parameters. Beyond that, there's obviously some modifications you can make to the Shockley diode model and things like that. But I mean, for me, with most of the things that I work on, kind of what I'm more interested in is not so much like, oh, does this sound exactly like the hardware, or does it sound exactly like the specific diode or the specific component, and more of like, oh, does this sound musically useful, right? So like, for example, something I've done in the past is take like a typical diode model and then just like mess with it until maybe it sounds nothing like any hardware that you could buy, but is interesting in some other way. Maybe it distorts in a way that's more harsh or sharper or something like that. And so I personally, I find that kind of thing very interesting and very useful. But obviously, if you're doing that kind of thing, then you're kind of forgoing any attempt at accuracy or like real world modeling at that point. So yeah, hopefully that answers some of your question. But yeah, I mean, nothing's impossible. And then of course, these days we can also do black box and gray box modeling, so that, instead of having to have some equation that tells you exactly what your diode is doing, you can maybe train a neural network or use some Wiener-Hammerstein model or something like that that's been fitted to your specific circuit that you're working with. This is actually something that I messed with my friend Chris from Singapore in a paper that we did last year for the SMC conference, is basically having a model of a distortion circuit and specifically training a neural network to just model different types of diodes that you could put in that circuit. So the rest of the circuit model can be a wave digital filter or a state space model or whatever you're doing, and then just the diode part would be a neural network. So that was a lot of fun, yeah, and I think that kind of gray box modeling could be a really interesting thing to explore more in the future. Oh, thanks. Glad you like the beard. I've been thinking of shaving it recently. It's been getting a little itchy at times, but I haven't made a decision yet, so we'll see. Okay, yeah, so for this, we just want our bottom bar. And yeah, we're going to want a couple of parameters here. So for our plot, we need the plugin state and we need the wave shaper params. Yeah, I think we're going to need the same thing here, because we're going to need to have some parameter attachments for the combo boxes. So yeah, let's just set this up maybe as kind of a dummy component for now. So we've got our copyable with leak detector thing, and so we're going to want a combo box. I'm going to probably be overriding this in a minute. So shape menu and shape menu and oversample menu. Yeah, I'm going to be overriding these in a minute because I want them to look different. But for now, we'll just have some combo boxes to fill the space. And then we're going to want our parameter attachments. So this should be a choice parameter attachment. Attachment. This is a combo box attachment. That was it. Attach. And I'll just call this OS attach to make it a little bit simpler. And for now, we'll just paint. We'll just paint this in with something simple. Yes, I do state space modeling, and yeah, I've been doing the same thing, just checking some param variation in Schottky diode equation or approximate germanium diodes. Yeah, you can get pretty far that way. And yeah, I mean, definitely don't be afraid of having some fun with the Schottky model as well. You don't have to use it in its original form if you don't want to. So feel free to modify it to get whatever sounds you want if that's the kind of thing that you're into. I think that's there's an interesting paper from last year's DAFX conference about that. I think it was by Dan from Newfangled Audio, and he calls it model bending, where he's like, yeah, you just take your original circuit model or some equation that is basically an equation that you would have in your traditional circuit model, And then you just sort of screw with it until it sounds different or interesting in some way that is useful for you. So yeah, model bending is fun. Definitely a cool thing to do. So let's see, we've got our shape attachment. And so this one's going to be attaching to our what's wrong here? Oh, we don't have we have an incomplete type, so we need to include a wave shaper processor. All right, so wave shaper params. Come on. All right. I think it's called shape param, or maybe just shape. Yeah, shape param. And we've got our plugin state, and then we've got our combo box. So let's just shape menu. And then we can do the same sort of thing. Same sort of thing for our OS attach. So this should attach to the oversampling parameter and the oversampling. So we'll do our little add and make visible, although we're not actually going to see them yet because we're not implementing the resized function yet. So yeah, we won't see them for a minute, but that's okay. Cool. And for now, let's just fill this with a I don't know, it's a good color, yellow. And we'll make it semi-transparent. Cool. And so now we can go back to the main editor. We've got our bottom bar. So we need to initialize the bottom bar with the same things here. So we've got our state, we've got our wave shaper params. I'll keep that around just in case you want to bring it back later. And then let's see how you want to do our bottom bar here. So, oh, I made this a private component. Don't want that. Public component is what we want. Cool. So now we can do add and make visible and set bounds, and that should be fine. What kind of ratio did I do in the band splitter between the bottom bar and the rest of it? So I did 0.075. So let's do that maybe. Not sure I want this to happen exactly the same, but let's just try this and see what we get. So yeah, we've got our bottom bar, and then we've got our plot. And then in this paint function, we want to take the background that we had in the wave shaper plot and just do that for the whole background here. So get rid of that and put that down there. Oh, and we need to include the colors. Wave shaper. Yeah, is that gonna work? Cool. All right, yeah, let's see what we get from that. Recently used two symmetrical wave shapers in push-pull circuitry, but instead of fixed bias, use their envelope follower as bias, but with twist. Oh, cool. Yeah, that's a neat idea. Yeah, throwing an envelope follower in any kind of nonlinear process as sort of a modulator or something like that can always get you some strange and funky results. So that's definitely a cool thing to do. So yeah, I added a CPP file, so we're gonna have to wait for a little bit of a longer rebuild here. Good for me to drink some water then. Oh man, I've already been on here for an hour and some. Interesting. Yeah. What time are we at? All right, it's 3:15 where I'm at. Maybe I'll do another 15 minutes or so. Uh, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how much more time I can spend on this. Which is too bad, because I'm really enjoying working on this plugin at the moment. So I do want to make more time to continue improving it. But yeah, UI development definitely takes time. It's not I don't know, it's not the kind of thing you just knock out in one go, at least for me. So that's something to think about as well. Yeah, I think the other thing I need to do is spend some time working out colors for some of these things. I don't love some of my color choices here at the moment. And then maybe this text should go a little bit further down too. That's something else I need to think about. Yeah, I should probably pull that text down a little bit. But I do like it seems to resize pretty well, which I'm happy about. Obviously, you can get to a point that's a little too small, maybe, but yeah, I think I'm happy with this look overall. I just want a little bit more polishing and some better colors. So yeah, if I can get to that point with the wave shaper as well, I'll be pretty happy. I think for the fold and fuzz, what I'm going to do is have a little sort of slot that comes out on the right side here when that wave shaper is activated, so that you can control the parameters as like vertical sliders up there. But yeah, I don't know. I haven't really made any strict decisions about that. So if people have ideas or anything like that, I'm happy to hear them. Yeah, actually, I'm curious for folks that are watching, what are some of the plugins that you guys are enjoying using the most these days? I think for me, I've been really into the Boost plugin from Ursa DSP. This one's pretty sweet. Yeah, I've been using this on a lot of tracks. Usually, I just put on my master bus, and it kind of gets me most of the way to where I want to get to with like a sort of a rough master, or even a fuller master. And then maybe I need some EQ and some other little things to clean it up. But yeah, Boost is a pretty great plugin. Some other ones I've been using lately. Oh yeah, tape, Baby Audio's tape plugin. This one's kind of nice. I have my own tape plugin too, but this one has a little bit of a different sound to it. So I do like the sound that they've got. The UI is pretty fun as well. I enjoy playing around with this. So yeah, if you haven't used tape, maybe something worth checking out. I don't know if you actually pronounce it tape. Maybe there's some other thing that goes into it. Yeah, VCV rack I've been playing around with a bit more lately. That one's pretty fun. Of course, Vital. Probably everyone knows Vital. Yeah, some random things. I feel like there was a synth that I got recently, a synth plugin that I got recently that I really like, but I'm forgetting the name. And I just saw it here. Oh yeah, Diopser from NIH Plug. It's like sort of a rip off of the disperser from Kilohertz. That one's a good one though. Oh, that Epoch amp from Guitar ML. I've been using this one, and yeah, this one's pretty fun. I like the UI that they've got for it. Yeah, it sounds great. Maybe our build's almost done here. Yeah, but if anyone's got plugins that they're enjoying at the moment, definitely let me know. I'd be curious to try them out. Interesting. I wonder if I want to explicitly parallelize these builds. Maybe there's a different set of arguments I should be using there for CMake. Yeah, it's okay. Anyway, all right. Let's see what we've got as far as the look of the wave shaper at the moment. So wave shaper. Okay, yeah. So that's kind of what I was going for. Obviously, the bottom part here should look different, but that should get us some part of the way to where we want to go. Oh, and you know what I'm also missing is the gain slider. Yeah, I don't know exactly how I'm going to want to do that. I'll have to think about that one a little bit more. Yeah, maybe I'll leave in the parameters view then, just so that there's a way to manipulate those parameters until I figure out how I want to do that. Maybe, I don't know, 0.15 or something. Jazz is a fan of Chow tape. Thanks, man. Yeah, I enjoy it as well. Yeah, I agree. It's a sort of component modeling for tape, so it's a little bit different strategy than most tape plugins go with. But yeah, Air Windows has some great tape plugins as well. Yeah, I like the Baby Audio one that I showed a minute ago here. I've also used Yuhi Satin. Their tape plugin is quite good also. Yeah, lots of good tape plugins out there. So for this bottom bar, I'm trying to think about how I want to draw some things here. And maybe how I want my combo boxes to look. So let's see what I can do with a juice combo box. So yeah, so juice combo box has a couple of virtual functions, right? So yeah, we can obviously override the destructor. And then we've got all these component things that we're messing with. Probably don't want to touch those. And then maybe there's some paint methods that we want to override. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know exactly what I want to do with this, but is there like a get text method in combo box? Get text, return the text currently shown in the combo box's text field. May have been edited by the user. All right, whatever. Yeah, so let's just do this. So let's make a simple box that is a derived juice combo box. And I don't know if we need a constructor for it or anything, but we're going to override the paint method. And yeah, I'm just going to take some stuff that I did from the band splitter and pull that in here. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that I'm doing this quite right just yet. So right now I'm doing this hack where I just get the font from my system, but really I should have a better way of doing that. So I should add that to my to-do list. And then let's see, where did we actually draw the text? We'll put that in here. Yeah, okay, so the text we want to draw, we can just do from, or we can just take that from the get text method. The bounds should be get local bounds. Yeah, that seems fine. Yeah, and then obviously you've got this paint method that you're gonna have to deal with. Road shaper. There we go. All right, so let's make these a simple box for now. So I think this should have the effect that I want as far as making the text show up the way that I want, but then the background we're going to have to do ourselves, and then obviously the menu part of the combo box is going to take a bit more work. I might have to delve into the juice look and feel stuff, which I don't love doing. It's not my favorite part of Juice UI programming, definitely, but maybe I'll have to do it. Let's see. So we don't want to fill the whole thing with that anymore. I guess the other question is if I should use the same color the whole way through, or if I maybe shouldn't do that. Let's see. So these are kind of the separation lines that I had in the slope picker. Maybe I'll copy a few more things. Some of the stuff I should probably refactor to minimize repetition, but you know, whatever, I'll get to that at some point. So let's see. This stuff we can simplify a little bit. So I'll call this half width position, and this would be halfway across. And then we can just slot those in there, and that'll get us the lines between the different combo boxes that we want. I'm also going to need the color gradient to show up as well. So let's see. Well, yeah, I can just do something a little bit simpler here, because I'm filling the whole thing with the same color for now, at least. So we'll just have one color. So yeah, this should be a new color that we have to define here. So love our plot color, which right now is just red, like the juice default red. And then I'll have a box color which I'll do gold for now. Actually, I wonder. Yeah, okay, they don't have that. They have like a darker red, maybe a burgundy. Yeah, whatever. I'll think more about colors later. So this should be box color and box color. And then we'll just fill all with that, if I can spell it right. And then let's resize this so that we can get the boxes in their spots. So get local bounds, and we'll do shape menu dot set bounds. Move from, this will be on the left, so we'll do proportion of width 0.5, and then we'll do oversample menu dot set bounds with whatever's left. And yeah, we'll see what we get from that. Justice, another one I do like is Fab Filter, but I just realized they use Arctan Wave Shaper with some filtering. Yeah, I mean, if kind of the funny thing with tape is that if your tape is properly biased, like exactly properly biased, you should get basically the equivalent of like static wave shaping. But typically your tape or your tape machine isn't like that perfectly biased. Or if it is, maybe after, you know, a little bit of usage, it kind of goes back to being a little bit off. But you know, it still won't be too far off. It's just like, you know, you'll have sort of the way I would think of it is that your hysteresis loop would be very narrow, so it'd be very close to being a static wave shaper. But yeah, there's some subtleties in there for sure that you know, certain models may or may not capture them, but also for your use case, they may or may not be as important depending on the music that you're trying to make with it. Multi-tool. Cool. Okay, so we've got something that kind of works, but then we've got this extra text being drawn here also, and I'm not totally sure why. So that's kind of a funny one. For the in-between line here, maybe we should just let the other line kind of carry itself the whole way. I don't know. Yeah, that's a little bit odd. Yeah. I'll have to think about this a little bit more because this, yeah, this doesn't look quite how I want it to look. But you know, maybe that's okay. But yeah, we gotta get rid of these extra bits of text here, and then we want to make the menu look better also, since right now that looks pretty. I mean, it looks like a standard juice menu, which you know is fine to start out with, but yeah, we want to see if we can do better. All right, so yeah, let's get rid of that text and then maybe try to get this line looking a little better, and then maybe I'll call it a day. That might be, yeah, that might be enough for today. And maybe also we'll tweak this a little bit. Yeah, so I'm just trying to make the colors of the background look a little bit better. But I don't know, we'll see. We'll see if that actually looks the way I want it to. And then here for this one, we'll just have our line be the line color the whole way through. And I think that'll I think that'll get us what we want for that halfway point line. As far as the combo box, we're gonna have to look into these look and feel methods, which I try to avoid whenever possible. But I think here I actually do need to look into it. So yeah, let's see what the juice combo box is doing. Yeah, here we go, combo box. All right, so where do we resize the combo box? Okay, so basically all that happens is we reposition the combo box text in resized. So maybe let's just override our resize method to do nothing. And I think that should get us what we want. Yeah, so we've definitely still got like a bit more work to do on the WaveShaper UI overall. But hopefully this is a decent starting point. Yeah, let's start with that. Let's see, some of this stuff is old here, so I've added some more stuff to the SPF. I think that one's okay for now. I think, yeah, I fixed most of that stuff. Yeah, most of this is fine now. So for WaveShaper UI, we've got corners with weird plot. We've got I spelled weird right. I think that's correct. Anyway, we've got gain control that are looking menus for combo boxes, better colors all around. And then we want kind of a drawer with controls for fold, buzz, shiver. Maybe that's a good stopping point for today if that's working more or less. Yeah, I've got a few other things to do today that are gonna have to happen off stream, unfortunately. But yeah, that looks not happy with the colors, but aside from the colors, I think it looks decent. Yeah, so now those two boxes are pretty much taken care of, and so we still need our gain control, and then we still need these controls in like a drawer that I think I'm going to have on the side here. But yeah, we can get to that, and then maybe this line here could be blended a little better. We'll see. Yeah, I may wait on that until I figure out the colors situation. But I think for the gain control, I might have like a similar thing as I've been doing with the band splitter, where I've got this sort of thumb that hovers around the crossover frequency, and then you can drag it around. I might do a similar thing with the WaveShaper, where you would have kind of these two double bars. So one is on the positive side of the plot, and the other is on the negative side, and they would both sort of control the gain. I don't know, that might be odd because the axes are moving as well. So maybe I should keep the axes constant. I don't know. That's a tricky one. Yeah, I'll have to think about that one a little more. Maybe there's a different way to do it that would look good. Or if anyone here has some suggestions, that would be welcome as well. But yeah, I'll keep thinking about it. Maybe there's a solution. And yeah, like I had mentioned before, I'm going to need some better colors for all of this too. Even for this one, I'm not super happy with the colors just yet, so we'll get there. But yeah, I'm happy with the progress for today. So that's a nice little chunk of work there on the wave shaper. Cool. So yeah, if no one's got any questions, then I'll finish up here in a minute. Yeah, maybe I won't try to merge this branch yet, since it's still a bit of a work in progress. Well, nah, let's just merge it, and then I'll deal with the rest of it on a separate branch at a later time. Cool, yeah. So we've talked a bit about some juice UI stuff and about some well, a little bit of discussion for some analog modeling stuff, but nothing too crazy. What am I doing here? Okay, here's the stream thing. Yeah, so as I mentioned, George has been requesting some Wave Digital Filter stuff. So next time, either next week or the week after, I'll be doing some WDFs. I've got a fun little circuit that I want to take a look at. I don't think it's going to fit within the multi-tool plugin, so I think I'm going to try to do this one for the BYOD plugin that I've been working on. So that'll be like a new pedal for BYOD. Yeah, so that'll be a fun one. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It should be a good time. I haven't worked on BYOD much in a little bit, so I haven't been working on it regularly in a little bit, so it'll be fun to get back to that. And then yeah, I'm hoping to finish up the multi-tool sometime this spring. Obviously, there's a good bit of UI work still to do, and just some other things that need taken care of. But hopefully that one's not too far off. And then I want to get another update done for BYOD maybe sometime this summer. So yeah, I'm excited to work on that one some more. And then I've got a couple other ideas that are not really started yet, but we'll get there when we get there. Cool. Yeah. So thanks for listening in and following along. Hopefully, some folks have enjoyed the bits of coding that we've talked about here, and maybe you've learned something or have some motivation to, write some code of their own. That's always a fun thing. So cool. I'll end the stream now. But thanks everyone.